I've taken this right out of the manual. I've circled all the part numbers here. It might be better maybe if I scan this and show it on the screen. The only problem I had was actually number 37 here. These two packing nuts. And I found a replacement part number here, and I'll show that on the screen. We'll start with building the lower section of the carb first. I have all my parts laid out here. I got a new carb float pin. Mine was stripped. I got a new needle and seat set. I made this gasket. I just copied the old one. That'll fit on top of there. I ended up ordering a new plunger assembly. I wrecked the old one pulling it out. This plunger and these two washers actually are used, or these gaskets are used when it goes together, when it's assembled, as with these bolts. And here are all the part numbers you might need. Start by this needle stem here. There's a little nylon washer that comes with it. I can drop that in the hole. Just till it's seated and looks snug in there. Yep. Now there's a big plug with this bigger washer on the outside. It's a lot different than what I took out of it. It sits on the outside. And he's snug. I can come in here. Oh shit, you know what? Forgot an important thing. Why don't you drop that needle in there? There you go. Now when this comes in here, it should pick that up, which it does. So I can put this back in. I can snug all these up after if there's any potential leaks. Okay. You can hear the needle moving in there. I cleaned up this other needle, so I'm gonna put the manual calls for 2, so I'm gonna slide 2 on there. Put it in. So I'm tight. I'm straight out. I'm going to back this off 3/4 of a turn. So there's a quarter, and another quarter. And that's hopefully where I should be able to leave it. And then this guy will come in here. This is a potential spot to leak. Still move the needle. So let me just get a wrench on that. Yeah, it's 7/16. There's just some restriction there, so you don't want this to vibrate loose. Okay, we're going to try that. I can always slam another packing nut in there. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that, and we're going to see if it leaks. Okay, now what we need is, this is the little plunger cap here. Put the washer, well, they call it O-ring, I guess. I fit the O-ring in there. Surprisingly, these are really hard to remove. It took me a while to get the old one out. So I put a small depth mark. There's about just over a 1/16 that's going to be showing. So I'm going to do my best to get this centralized. The washers are, or the O-ring's already in there. Now, I'll get it into a good viewing. I'm almost there. Just got to be careful, you don't want to break anything. I don't really want to go any further. My mark is just right there. And you can kind of see the mark right there. If I squeeze that too tight and crack that, then this project's over. So that's how you get that in. On the bottom end of that fitting, there's a little check valve. I actually don't know. I know how they made it. You can see they pressed something inside of this check valve, but I cleaned this out as good as I could. I tried to plug those holes and blew air into it. It only seems to be working one way, like it should. So here's a gasket for there. And then that should fit in there like that. That's a pretty loose gasket. Wonder if I should check to make sure that's the right one. 76. 2109, yep. Where's my big boy? Like I said, I can tighten that again. I don't want to over tighten these because they were hard to come out last time. I have blue Loctite here. This was the fitting I had to heat up to get out. I thought I had blue Loctite. I think it expired 4 years ago, 2016. Does that seem right? It's 7/16. Oh yeah. Mentioned they don't make this old float anymore. You can see this kind of weird looking float arm specific for this year. I grabbed a standard float. There's the part number. Carefully ground off the clip. I know which way is up. I marked it up. So you can see how the bottom end of this arm is collinear with the bottom of the float, and I know it's the bottom because that's how it sits in the float bowl, or the bowl. So this has three little pinchers on it, so that just fits right over top of where I cut the piece off, and it's collinear. And then I've got a little screw, and I'm just going to try and put that in there. I need my little screwdriver. I thought these floats were hollow, but it looks like they're just some sort of foam. Didn't get it in there straight. Something here. I actually have to keep that little port open because when I put the float in, you can see those teeth engage there. There's not a lot of play in there. So put the little holding pin in there. Might not be able to see. I guess it's working. Feels like it's working. It's bottoming out. So I'll tighten this little guy up. Holding it upside down. Trust me, it's level. Okay, we're tight. Now I can put this back in for the 4th time. Okay. That's the bottom section put together. Now, I mentioned there's 2 other washers. Don't worry about this one, that's packing. This is what holds the assembly to the upper portion. So that'll go through like that, and then this gasket on top in there.